Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk. I am joined by Tyler Denny, one of ESBR's favourites. Good to have you back on the channel, mate. Been a while. As I said, I think the last time I spoke to you was just before that Riyadh season card that you fought on at Wembley Stadium. How's things, mate? How's that period been since then?
Good, yeah. Life's good, to be fair. Life's good. But most I can't wait to get back in the ring and get a win. That's the main thing. That's what's been playing on my mind. So it's only a few weeks away now, so I'm buzzing.
Absolutely. It's what, by the time you fight, it'll have been, well, it's over 6 months, maybe around that time anyway. So
But
is that in an ideal situation, are you glad you've had that maybe a bit of extra time off because you had been very active, or if it was down to you, would you have wanted to get it back out sooner than this?
yeah, if it was down to me, I would have definitely had sooner because it's what I do. Do you know what I mean? I like being in the gym and having like a target for something to aim towards. But to be honest, I've enjoyed my time anyway. Like I said, I've got 4 kids, so I spend a bit more time with them before I've deserted them again for camp. But yeah, I've enjoyed it over the Christmas period, and then since January, I've been straight back on it. Really.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I do want to kind of talk about that last fight and kind of look back. Looking at the Hamzah Sheeraz fight, obviously didn't go your way. How do you reflect on it as a whole? Both the fight, the experience, his performance against you, your performance. How do you make of all of that?
Um, yeah, I have to try and put it into 2 parts. Really, I think as an experience as a whole, it was great. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole fight week and the way we had season do it is, I think it's another level in terms of production and stuff, and walking down the red carpet the week of the fight. But ultimately, it's about fighting. Do you know what I mean? And I lost, and it's frustrating really because I think I could fight Shiraz 100 times over, and that would never happen. Like I mean, I'd never lose, but in that sort of fashion where I felt like I never got in the fight to give it a good go. And you have to give Shiraz credit for that also. Do you know what I mean? He never let me get going. But yeah, so ultimately there is a bit of a feeling there, like it's a bit annoyed at myself really. But this is boxing. Really. It's great and it's harsh, and I think that's why everyone's interested in the sport.
Absolutely. Talking about the experience as a whole first, what was it like when you were making that ring walk and out into Wembley Stadium? Like, is it one of those where you look around and think this is mad, or is it like
Yeah.
totally in the zone?
I try and be in the zone, but there is a bit of moments as well. You think it's surreal. Do you know what I mean? And especially Wembley, because I'm mad into football. I went there the other week watched Newcastle beat Liverpool, so I was buzzing. But I've been there before. I've been there before. I thought I was cursed from it as well, because I've been there before when Newcastle lost to United 2 years ago. I even went a few weeks after the Shiraz fight, and England lost to Greece. So I thought maybe I shouldn't come here again. Do you know what I mean? But it is surreal and it is great, and I've got great photos and videos and memories. But like there is that little bit. It would have been a whole lot better if I would have won. But you got to take it is what it is, isn't it? There's nothing I can do about it now. Just to crack on and perform in my next fight.
Absolutely. Was Hamza bigger? Obviously, you sparred a load around, but was he a bigger puncher than you had remembered than what you expected?
It's a weird one because obviously I'm not gonna say he didn't punch hard. He definitely punched hard, but I think it is where he punched me. He's like on the top of the head. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been with like bigger shots clean in the face, and you think wow, but like it was weird ones. He just took your legs when you got scrambled on the top of the head there, like so. But I think it's because it's a tall. I think yeah, he's punching down on most people. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a natural thing, but. It is what it is, isn't it? Like I said, I was gutted, but I wish Hamzah nothing but the best going forward. And I think he's moving up in here as well, right now to super middleweight. So, and he'll still be huge for them weight. So, I think he's got a world title in him, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to just before we come back to yourself, to want a couple more on Hamza. As you mentioned there, like he looks like he's moving up to 168, but he did have that draw against Carlos Adames. What did you make of that and his performance? A lot of people maybe had a hand injury. It did look like he had a swollen hand or whatever. Or do you think, in your opinion, he was maybe like he was kind of dead at the weight because he is a very, very big man?
Maybe, but I think he started off well, and like Adames coming to it, didn't he? I thought Adama's won the fight, to be honest. Not want to disrespect Hamzah or anything, but I think the general consensus he won the fight. You know what I mean? But I think he was on borrowed time anyway at middleweight, and I'm not sure how he made it. So I'm sure if £8 is a lot in it to take off from super middle, so I'm sure he'll feel a lot better going forward and maybe do the rounds a bit better. It's not like he was doing bad, really. Like he never got beat up or anything, but it's just I think he'll feel a lot better within himself and probably show more what he's capable of with an extra £8 on him.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was going to move on, but just quickly, something else has come to my head. When you mentioned there about your fight with Sheeraz at Wembley, and you said how you were kind of frustrated, how you didn't really get the you didn't really get to implement your game plan because of the way the fight went. You got hit in the back of the side of the head, equilibrium goes, whatever, it happens. Was that the game plan going in, thinking, right, yeah, everyone thinks he's this massive puncher, but I haven't seen him down the stretch. So was that in your mind going in, right? Let's get to the fifth, sixth round, and then we'll see if we can take over. Was that the game plan going in?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think it had to be because I've done the rounds a lot of times. I know I've got a fit engine to keep going and keep going, and he's massive for the weight, so you have to try and put him to the test, see what he's got. But I mean, he never let me get there, did he? So fair play to him. And I would have liked to have carried on, but the ref's there for the ref, and it's my own fault for being on the floor twice. So I've got no complaints. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You got to look at yourself and think, don't get in with them shots in the first place. You know what I mean? So that's what I've learned out of it anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And thanks for being so open and honest about that. Back to yourself now, Tyler, and back in action Easter Sunday in Birmingham, close to home. You looking forward to getting back in that ring?
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. And I think Boxer just put a video out today as well of Elvis saying he's a soldier and all this and talking a load of shit. So I'm buzzing for it, man. It's a good fight. I think it'd be entertaining fight as well. I watched his fight against Callum Simpson and his game strong. I think you know what you're going to get. I'd be very surprised if he's got like a plan B. But it's I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good fight to get back into.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned you're up against Elvis Ahorga. I think hopefully I haven't butchered his name too much, but yeah, you mentioned he's sort of Callum Smith at the very Callum Simpson, so to say, not Callum Smith. He fought Callum Simpson at the beginning of February. Apart from that, do you know much about him, or is it you kind of basing that what your preparation stuff off mainly that fight because it was only 2 months ago?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I can't say I've heard of him, so I've never seen any of his other fights. I think he was going to fight Mark Jeffers at the end of last year, but for one reason or another, that never happened. But I never seen him fight. The first time I've seen him fight was the Simpson fight. So, and obviously, me and Simpson are completely different fighters. He's probably got a foot on me for one. Do you know what I mean? So, who knows? But I think he'll be game when he come for it, and I'll be there to meet him and punch him back. So, it's exciting times, man. Exciting times.
Absolutely. Is this fight at super middle?
No, a lot of people keep asking me that, and I hope not, because I'm not being super middle. I'm middleweight. It's not like we've asked for the fight. Do you know what I mean? They put it towards us and said, "Do this fight," and we said, "Yeah, but I'm a middleweight," and they said, "Yeah, he can do middle." So we'll see. And maybe he can because he took the Simpson fight about 2 weeks, didn't they? And Callum did as well, to be fair. So if he's fighting at that weight in 2 weeks' notice, I'm sure with plenty of time he could be middleweight.
Yeah,
But I
so
hope
was
so
I was
because he's dead. I'll be a middleweight anyway, so he needs to be.
yeah, I was wondering just because if you go on if you look at the card on BoxRec or whatever, it does say super middle, but I was didn't
Yeah.
know about that. So yeah, I was just making sure didn't know whether you were sneaking a move up the super middle there or not. But yeah, no,
You
good
can
stuff.
see Shiraz have gone up to super middle. You can see the size of him, so I don't need to be at them weights and everything. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, absolutely. Um, what is the goal now, Tyler? Get back to winning ways here on April 20th. Going on from there, you've won the European champion. You still haven't won the British. Is that something that you still want to do?
I would like to be honest, but I'm not sure where I stand right now because we did put forward to fight because when Bentley vacated it, Conway was mandatory, so the board had to find Conway an opponents, and we put our name forward because I think that would have been a good fight as well. Me and Conway for the British, I would have loved that fight. But then Jerome Warburton's fighting him now, and then because this he'll probably get a voluntary after that as well. So I've kind of who knows? I don't think that's going to materialise for one reason, which is a bit frustrating because like I defended the English a few times as well. I never got a shot at it. But to be honest, I'm not crazy over belts. I just want the big fights, and the more money, the better for me. So if I could fight for more money over a belt, I'd pick that. I'd just be honest with you.
Yeah, no, fair play.
Not
Fair
not not
play.
that not that this fight's a massive money spender or nothing like. But going ahead, going in the future, definitely that's what I'd pick always.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you sat down with your team, Ben Shalom, anyone? Like, have you sat down thinking like in your head trying to map out what an ideal rest of the year in 2026 has in store?
I haven't, to be fair. I've just got to. I will do, but I've got to focus on this fight. And as soon as I can get this fight out of the way and win and look good doing it, then I think that's when you got to sit down and see what options we've got on the table. Because you're only as good as your last fight, ain't you? And I never performed my last fight, so I've got to perform this fight, and then I can bring a bit more to the table to say people who maybe doubt me. I can say, well, get me this fight or get me that. So that's my plan, to look good, and then I can start talking a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. There obviously are some big, I suppose you could call them domestic fights coming up in middleweight as well. Whether or not he's a fully fledged middleweight or not, Conor Ben's of course fighting Chris Eubank Jr. What 6 days after you. And there's obviously that Liam Smith Aaron McKenna fight seems to be at middleweight as well. Are they fights like, are they names that, I mean, you might not end up fighting any of them. You might. Are they the kind of names that you want to be mixing it with?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, the Eubank Ben, I think they're in a league of their own with commercial sort of stuff and that. Do you know what I mean? So you got to be realistic, in you. Um, they'll be fighting for tens of millions of pounds. But like you, Smith and McKenna, I think that's a good fight as well. I've sparred Aaron a lot of times. We've done loads of rounds, and Smith's a great fighter. But again, you're as good as your last fight, and he never showed his last fight. So I'm sure he'll be itching to show he's got a point to prove, and he's still a world level fighter. So it could be a proper crossroads fight. But yeah, so big fights like that, big events and big cards. That's what I'm going to try and get to. And I've been there before, so I know I can get there. Just getting back in it, but it's just one step at a time. I've never really had no plans really. I just beat whoever I put in front of me, and everything seems to work out itself.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, fingers crossed you definitely get a few more big ones and a few big paydays as well, because ultimately it's a prize fighting sport, isn't it? So
Yeah,
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Just before we round off and come back to you, Tyler, I do want to ask you about that Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn fight. Do you see that going a certain way? Do you have a strong opinion on who's going to win that, or do you think it's a 50-50?
it's a good fight. I think Eubank will win, but I've got a stronger opinion on. I want Eubank to win simply because um, they are kind of a drug situation. Like that doesn't sit right with me. How he can be banned in the UK but then fight in America and stuff. And I don't know. Something seems wrong for me. Nothing sits right. It was in the system, and I think if that's me and that was in my system, I'll just get banned. There's no, do you know what I mean? But I think if you can get certain laws or whatever, you can get away with certain things now, and it's a bit frustrating, really. What happened to the time where there's just strict liability, and if it's in your system, I don't give a shit what excuses you've got or if you've done it or not. You have to, maybe you can have an appeal system as to explain how it's got there, but you just want to see a ban, really, don't you? Liam Cameron got banned for 4 years for, I think, just cocaine in the system. Do you know what I mean? That's not performing enhancing. So you have like what one war for one for another, and it stinks, really. Do you know what I mean? But it's not just Conor Benn either. There's a lot of top name fighters in there who get banned, and next thing you know, they're fighting again. Even Canelo got like a 6 month ban. He only fights twice a year anyway. So there's you know what I mean? He's not missing much. So I think that's just boxing, isn't it?
No, definitely. Unfortunately, there is obviously there's a dark side, I suppose, to boxing as well that maybe we all know, but hopefully, we just kind of try and ignore it. But you're all right, no, for sure, for sure. Well, I hope hopefully the fight delivers and we get a good fight, and I kind of suppose park that to the side, so to speak. But just before we round off, Tyler, back to you. April 20th, Easter Sunday, back in the ring. What can we expect to see from you on fight night?
A guy who's excited to show how much he's got left. I'm expecting a big performance. I've put a lot of pressure on myself, a big performance from myself. I've been training for a long time for this fight. I mean, I think I'm looking forward to the build-up as well because now he likes to talk a bit, doesn't he? So I think that should be fun. But I'll be able to shut him up in the ring. I'm not sure I'll be able to match him on the talking side of things. I'll let him carry on, but in the ring when it matters, that's when I'll be coming out on top.
Brilliant. Tyler, Denny, absolute pleasure as always. Thanks very much for speaking to ESBR, and I'll chat again soon.
Nice one, thank you.